Howdy y'all. Here it is. I told myself that if I lost 10 pounds, I would start a YouTube channel. And I lost 13 pounds. Still working on it, but these things take time. They say 9 months in, 9 months out, but it's been a little over 9 months, so it's time to lose the baby weight. Anyway, I digress. I thought I would start with Booktube Newbie Tag because what else is there to do? I don't know. Hopefully I come up with more ideas by the time I actually start posting videos. So let's just get right into it. Also, awesome tablet. Yes, remarkable. Why did you start this channel? Well, as an INFJ, I really love the idea of being able to talk to people without talking to people. I'm just kidding. I think Booktube is a really cool place to connect, and I'm already pretty active commenting and liking other people's posts, and I thought maybe I could contribute just like everyone else says. But if we're being 100% honest, I really just want to be friends with other booktubers, and I don't think they'll take me seriously if I don't have my own channel. So any of you want to be friends with me? Hello, here I am. Hugs, hugs, hugs. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I don't know if I personally bring a whole lot different to Booktube. I mean, does anyone really bring that much individuality? Maybe. I don't know. I guess what's unique about me is I am very multicultural. I'm Filipino and Irish American, so there's a lot of different things coming together in my raising. Also religion, oh my gosh, but don't even get me started on that right now. I could take up a whole video, and maybe it will one day if I continue doing this. We'll see. I think I just have a very different background than most people on Booktube, probably because I used to be an engineer and now I'm a mom, and I've got all this cultural stuff going on, and yeah. Hopefully someone finds this interesting. Maybe. What are you most excited for about this channel? Well, I love dressing up. I know, it's so basic. I'm so basic. So basic. Yeah, all of the makeup and hair and stuff. I don't know if any of you know this, but there's a pandemic going on and no one goes outside. So it's nice to have a reason to just dress up a little bit and interact with other humans. Why do you love reading? To keep the dark thoughts away. No, but it honestly depends on the mood and the type of book. Sometimes I'm reading just for candy for my brain. Sometimes I'm reading because I really want to learn something. Sometimes I'm reading to my children. Sometimes I'm reading for nostalgia or just to like feel certain ways. Like, I love that there's so many different kinds of books and you get to choose how you feel about them. I guess, like, if you want to feel heartbroken, you can feel heartbreak without having to deal with it for the rest of your life. Like, you can understand the feelings of heartbreak and love and whatever without having to experience them yourself, I guess. And adventures, like, oh my gosh, I know so many people who wish that they were on adventures and like had a like wilder life, but as someone who has had a lot of adventures, they're only fun in hindsight. It's much better to read about somebody else's. Like, you know, if, let's say you see this like giant massive spider and it's like coming at you and you're terrified and it's just disgusting and scary and like you don't know what to do and like blah blah blah, all this stuff happens, and and later on you calm down and you talk to someone about it. And then it's a story now, and the story is what you're attached to, not the actual event, right? And the story can be so much more, because the story is what connects you. The story is what makes people see you differently and see yourself differently. And, you know, people can see the same thing from different angles, and it's all one event, but because everyone has their own story, it affects us all differently. I don't know, I'm talking weird stuff here. What book or series got you into reading? I honestly have no idea. I started reading when I was like 3 years old. Actually, apparently I taught my cousin how to read at 3 years old. The Foot Book by Dr. Seuss. So I guess I've just always been a voracious reader, basically no matter what. I mean, I can think of books that I liked as a child, like Unicorns of Balinor and Ella Enchanted, and I mean, yeah, of course I liked Harry Potter, but that came much later for me. I was like probably like 10 years old by the time it was out. There's 7 years in there that I was already an avid reader. So that's just too difficult of a question to answer. Maybe Winnie the Pooh? What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Well, I don't think I have a lot of questions that I haven't already asked them in their comments or DMs. Like, I'm already pretty active, like I said, on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. So if I have questions, I usually just ask them. But I guess, will you be my friends? What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I'd say making coherent content, because my reading habits are like really all over the place. I'm not a one genre kind of gal. So I'm not sure how I'll be able to connect with an audience that's so diverse, but also each person has their own specific things that they're interested in. So I know you're supposed to like have a niche, and I'm not really sure what mine is, because gosh, I love books. that's like, duh, that's why you're here. That's why I'm here. Books. But yeah, there's just so many different aspects of reading that it's going to be hard for me to like stay on message and on brand. When did you start reading? Okay, I already answered that. 3 years old. Possibly 2. I don't know. I like books. Maybe I can talk about how I started reading instead. I learned to read from Sesame Street. Yes, I spent a lot of time in front of the TV as a child, and I know that nowadays they're like, no screen time, never, so bad, your kids learn nothing. But honestly, it's how I learned. Because my father and my grandmother spoke Tagalog at home, and then I kind of split time between my mom and my dad, and my mom was working, and so language just became this kind of amorphous mush thing. Oh, and then my grandmother's telenovelas, and like our news was in Mandarin for some reason. So I was just kind of like mush language stuff, and somehow that turned into reading. Much more than speaking. I'm not very good at speaking most languages, but I'm pretty decent at reading. Where do you read? I used to read in like cafes and bookstores, or go to the park, and try to be very picturesque in myself, my life. And one day I will do so again. But right now I read while I'm breastfeeding. My kids both still breastfeed, so I'm kind of just like stuck there doing nothing with my brain or hands. And usually they don't really want to make eye contact or anything, they're kind of focused. So I usually take that time to read. I mean, it could be up to 16 hours a day. What kind of books do you like to read? Like I said earlier, it depends on what my mood is and what I'm trying to get out of it. Right now, I'm on like a mystery, cheesy, murdery binge. You know, like turn of the century, crime, drama, love, suspense, that sort of thing. I'm a big fan of Hercule Poirot and Sherlock Holmes. On TV, I like Miss Fisher's murder mysteries. But then I also like get into these moods where I'm into historical fiction a lot. And I think that's actually also a good way to learn about history is historical fiction. But then to supplement that, I like to read history books. So I kind of like get wrapped up in like a time period or like an event, and I just go and read like fiction, nonfiction, fiction from a different point of view, and just try and like build a picture around this event and or place. Of course, YA. Who doesn't love YA? Why wouldn't you love YA? It's brain candy. I love brain candy. It's just fun. Feels good. Speaking of feeling good, I do like self-help books. I'm always trying to improve myself in different ways. So you'll see me kind of binge crunch that as well, like potting up different genres, something, I don't know. What else? How could I forget high fantasy? If we're going to talk about books, high fantasy, if we're going to talk about book genres, high fantasy is like top of the list. My favorite author, Brandon Sanderson. I like Patrick Rothfuss too, but you know, and my angle is probably totally different now because my baby started crying and I had to run off and take care of that because I'm filming at 1 in the morning on my closet floor with the babies in the room. Side note from future Jess, if anyone has questions, I am speaking very softly because my children are asleep in the other room. My eyes might be crossing back and forth a little bit, hopefully not too much. I did just have eye surgery last week for strabismus, which is like a lazy eye, so forgive me while I heal from that and retrain my eye to look straight on at things. So yeah, historical fiction, high fantasy, mystery. I like reading books about math and electronics. Some history books, programming books. I love classic literature and like, Little Women, obviously, the Brontes. Crime and mystery, short stories. It's hard for me to think of a genre that I don't like. I mean, it's more about pacing than genre for me. I did try reading the John le Carre books, and while they're interesting to me, the pacing just doesn't work. So usually that's like a DNF for me, is when I can't adjust to the pacing of a book. So anyway, that's my kind of intro video. Hopefully it's not too incoherent or weird. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask in the comments or find me on Instagram or Twitter or something and DM me. I have the 16 hours of breastfeeding to read books and respond to DMs. Like and subscribe if you can, if you want to, please. And I guess that's all.